Welcome back to another episode of PA Whiskey Guys. I'm Chris, here with Jesse and John. How you guys doing today?
Doing all right, fellas. Good to be back.
Yeah, doing good. Another episode.
Yeah.
Wonderful weather we're having here today in PA. It wasn't supposed to snow. It's snowing out, cold, windy.
It was 47 degrees at 11 o'clock. We went to the park with the little one. And I left the house an hour later and 33 and snowing like hell.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand this.
We're almost out of the woods, hopefully, with this stupid-ass weather.
But,
March is here. Spring will be in the air.
Yes. Well, that groundhog saw its shadow, right? Got scared, ran back in.
Should have gave him a drink.
He doesn't drink the bourbon, I guess. Well, looks like we got a little lineup in front of us today. Dive on in, huh?
Yeah. Today we're going to do Bardstown Bourbon Company. We have a couple bottles. We have essentially a bourbon, and we have two different ryes that we're going to compare to each other as we're tasting them here. But Bardstown, as we're going to slowly get into it, they make a ton of stuff, a ton of different varieties. But we'll give a little history lesson as we usually do. Bardstown was founded in 2014 in Bardstown, Kentucky, known as Bourbon Capital of the world. They created a modern, innovative distillery that honors traditional bourbon-making techniques with embracing new technologies. The company was founded by Peter Lofton, David Mandel, Daniel Lindy, and Garnett Black. It's grown with the support of various investors and partners, Constellation Brands, which acquired a minority stake in 2016. They distill their own product. They also source some product, or have sourced some product. They have a collaborative distilling program where they actually are producing bourbons and I'm not sure, maybe ryes for other pretty big name distilleries down there. I don't know. I'm not off the top of my head. I don't know who they are. John, do you know anything about?
Not too much.
No, they started outsourcing bourbon, right?
Yeah.
When they started out.
Yeah. Well, I think so. They might not have had...
But they were making their own, right? Or distilling their own, I should say.
Right. In their early days, they were sourcing whiskey, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a pretty interesting production process, from what I've read in the past.
And this is, I think they're one of the biggest distilleries down there now, too, after they just finished up an expansion.
Yeah, they are pretty big. One thing we were talking, I think it was Chris and I on the Four Roses, or one of the episodes we did last, Rick House versus Warehouse, with what I said in their little history thing that, in the technology, Bardstown only uses warehouses, I believe. And if you ever seen pictures of them, they're massive. I couldn't even tell you how many bottles they have on campus, probably.
Oh, wow.
Very high-end.
Yeah, very, very high-end place. We know some people that have gone down there, and they said it was their favorite place.
Well,
They have an outstanding bar. I guess the cocktails they make, they have like a library of all kinds of different whiskeys from other companies, and you couldn't choose. It's pretty crazy. Again, someday we'll get there.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a must-see. You got to see it when you go down, And for the few products that I've had and the ones we're about to taste, they make some awesome stuff.
Now, their variety of grains, corn, rye, and barley are sourced from local farms.
Yes.
In their distillery, they have a column still and pot still combination, which would create the unique flavor profiles. Their aging is new charred American oak barrels. They use a mix of traditional and innovative aging techniques, including experimenting with different barrel types and aging conditions. Their yeast strains are a proprietary yeast strain to develop distinct and complex flavors in their bourbon.
Also kind of like Four Roses.
Yes.
They don't disclose, obviously. None of them disclose what they do.
Oh,
but,
let's not get started on Four Roses again.
yeah.
10 different combinations. Oh, man. They were tongue twisters.
Makes them stand, yeah, they were. Makes them stand out, in the industry, which, again, we said it last time, you have to come up with something different, versus your competitor down the road, I don't want to say competitor because they're all good friends, I'm sure, but...
Yeah, it's still a competitor.
Yeah, it's still a
They're
competitor.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have your own unique niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting to the varieties a little bit that Bardstown Bourbon Company offers here. So these guys break everything down by series. So in their early days, one of their first series was the Fusion series. And this was a blend of Bardstown's younger bourbons that they were distilling, and then some of the juice that they have sourced, which was older whiskeys. And they did this to create a very unique profile and blends that were complex. Then we're moving on to their Discovery series. So the Discovery series features sourced bourbons from various distilleries, which is meant to showcase the different flavor profiles along with the different aging techniques of those distilleries. Coming into the collaborative series. So these are more, we'll say, limited release.
Yeah. We've seen a couple. Chris, me and you saw a couple when we were up in New York.
Yeah.
And not to get off too track here, we're going to continue, but Bardstown is not available in PA. So
Right.
that's one of the unfortunate things because, man, their products are pretty darn good. So
I believe they have some of them listed on the website. But they are, I believe, special order at the moment.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. That they will be making their way into the stores.
Yep.
So on the collaborative series, like I said, partnerships with other distilleries, also wineries, along with some breweries. And they were utilizing their different barrel finishes with their whiskeys to create some unique limited edition blends. There was a Goose Island.
Goose Island, that's the one of them I've seen. That's a popular one. That was aged in the Bourbon County casks or barrels or whatever. So,
this year one of the top 25 whiskeys was their Amarute series that they did, collaboration series. I've seen the ones Plantation Rum. They did one with Plantation Rum, Silver Oak Winery. They're doing
I've saw Silver Oak, but I didn't know that was a winery. I'm not familiar with them. I think they did Foursquare, which is the Dominican's biggest rum distillery, right?
Yeah, it's one of the oldest.
One of the oldest
distilleries.
One of the oldest. Yeah.
And I've been, not to bounce around, but they do have some very good vintage rums.
Yeah, I've heard that if you like good bourbon, you'll like a nice aged rum, which I dabbled in a little bit here and there, but never took off for me.
There's a few rums I like.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Now, getting back to the series here, so they have a Distillery Collection, which I'm not very familiar with. I don't know about you guys.
No, never seen them.
So pretty much these are all limited edition offerings that are available exclusively at the distillery. And these limited releases are experimental and encompassing Bardstown's innovative approach to making bourbon. So like I said, the way it sounds, you'll have to be there in person to see these whiskeys.
Yeah.
And these are, I believe, the Origin series. This is some of their latest releases that are using estate distilled bourbon, rye, distillates that they're doing on their own. And, encompassing some of their modern twists, but also, utilizing traditional processes. Moving on to their single barrel series, which we do have one of these here today. I think there's a few other ones. So naturally, the single barrel offerings or bespoke offerings presenting the highest rated bourbons in their cash drink formats. Now, these are sourced from their own barrels and their rickhouses. And moving on to the master distillers. So we're going to get into a little bit of the history of, the people behind Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah, Steve Nally, a veteran of the bourbon industry for over 40 years. He's got 40 years of experience, I should say. He's the master distiller at Bardstown. He's a member of the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. And he's played a crucial role in developing the company's products and processes. Like we say, and their stuff, the few things that I have, I know, John, you have a couple bottles that we don't have here today, but, I've tasted them, and they were pretty good stuff,
Yeah, I've, been impressed with their offerings. When I first stumbled upon them a few years ago in Virginia, very impressed. Like we were talking about earlier, they're using their own unique processes, sourcing some different juices in the earlier days. But just overall, I mean, such a wide variety of offerings that they have that, like I said, we're all very, very unique.
Yeah, they stand out.
So it seems like we see just a fraction of what they offer. You know, as far, I mean, we don't see it here in PA, but out on the road, we see a fraction.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably,
produce.
I mean, how many bottles do they produce a year? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. So not every state sees them. I mean, this, for all we know, this is a north, like a regional, like the Northeast region, or from, like I in groups on Facebook or whatever podcast. I don't know if like California out that way gets this stuff.
I know Ohio. I ran into them out there, and they had, OHLQ is Ohio's, agency or whatever, but and they have retail liquor stores. They're in the supermarkets, so they're pretty much spread out in a nice fashion in Ohio. But I remember running into one shop, and they had, all the
everything.
Collaborations. The Origin series was just coming to be, but the Fusion series, they had everything, which was dangerous. So I had to get out of there quick.
Yeah, yeah. They do something for the environment too. I guess they have, these places have to, it's state of the art science. All that stuff goes behind it and whatever. And the distillery, they have practices to reduce its environmental footprint. Including recycling waste materials, energy efficient equipment, source ingredients locally, which is also a great thing for the for Kentucky itself. Like the distiller, he wants to know where his grains are coming from. He's not going to go on some website and order from overseas or whatever. He wants to see them firsthand, and it's what makes good whiskeys, bourbons, and ryes. Obviously, it's all grain. Yeah. It's all grains. So,
they also utilize the sour mash process.
Yeah.
So, where I guess they would take a little bit from previously distilled batches and put it into their newer batches.
We're starting to learn. You see sour mash on some labels of other distilleries and stuff. I never looked at it. What it is, what the process is, and still not up to spec on it. But
we just did one recently where it was Wild Turkey.
Yeah,
someone else did the sour mash.
Wild Turkey does
process. Wild Turkey, right?
Yep. And then there's a Michter's sour mash, literally on the label.
Yeah, that's its own.
That's its own thing. But obviously they do it too, which it's pretty neat. Yeah, Bardstown's relatively new. In the industry, like 2014.
Oh, wow.
Some of these other distilleries have 100 years on them.
Oh, right.
100 plus years. So. But just goes to show you, when you take the time and the research and development that they probably do, in their facility to make these bourbons, it's worth it. From the few I've tried, it's worth it. So
let's get into this first bottle then. We have the Bardstown Origin Series, and this is their wheated bourbon whiskey. Comes in at 53% alcohol. That's going to be 106 proof. And it's aged for 6 years. The mash bill is 53% corn, 39% wheat, 8% malted barley.
39% wheat?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, that's why it's called a wheater.
Yeah, it's a wheater. That's it.
This is Halloween by the citizens of Halloween.
So we'll get a little bit of the nose on this one.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Let's dig in here. All right, I'm getting creme brulee right out of the gate.
No, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
My first initial nose, I had to take a sip before we started to get that initial impact.
I think
down.
we've all been cheating a little bit.
But the initial nose was fingernail polish remover. I apologize.
This isn't the salon here. Wait a minute.
This one's a lot better now. Definitely like a buttery, like a butter toffee.
Right.
Just stuck on that buttery, huh?
Yeah, I think Wild Turkey turned me into a butter palate.
It's definitely very creamy, like you said. I'm getting a little bit of a citrus hit.
Yeah, I get a sweet citrus.
And I know you guys are going to harass me for saying this. I'm going to say lemon chiffon.
Lemon chiffon.
I wouldn't even know what that is.
I'm not sure I know what that is either. Sounds like a great dessert.
It is. It's
I know. I've heard of it. I probably had it. I don't know.
It's not like I have that, very often either.
A lemon? Like a lemongrass?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I'll get a lemongrass out of that.
Moving on to the palate. Definitely very smooth. I mean, it's creamy, it's complex.
Mm-hmm. I still get the toffee.
Toffee, right? That buttery creaminess is definitely flowing there. For 106 proof, especially after it's got a little bit of air, it's not a lot of heat to it on the finish.
No,
not at all.
That definitely melts away.
Yeah, this is a tasty one.
it still seems real thick though. Like it's a real thick.
Yes, yeah.
Yep, it's got that mouthfeel.
Yeah, it's a real thick
Coats
sip.
the palate nice.
Yep. Yeah, I get the sweetness. I'm still getting sweetness. I don't get toffee. I don't know. I don't get that. My first little sip there, I got what I felt was like leather, but I don't know. It could be,
Could have been you didn't start as early as Chris and I.
Yeah, it's very possible.
You
Yeah,
didn't get the
Couple sips.
initial
Yeah,
one out of the
We've
way.
been cheating a little bit.
couple sips behind. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this before. I remember the first time I stumbled upon this. I cracked the bottle, let it breathe a little bit, and immediately right out of the gate, I mean, it was a winner. I mean, its price point, it kind of varies. Like, it's not here in PA yet, but I've seen it for as low as $40 up to
Which is a steal.
$55.
Which is an absolute steal. $40.
Yeah, if anybody sees this in their travels,
Yeah, it's a must try.
at any of those price points, it's worth it. It's worth it. But like for that $40 mark, get a case of it and run.
Yeah. The wheat is making it really drinkable, approachable. Like other whiskeys or other bourbons that we've done so far, you have that rye spice in there, or just rye in there
Right.
as period, and it gives you that. This doesn't give you that, I mean, this says on the finish, a little touch of spice, and I kind of get where they're going with it, but it's not overpowering. It's definitely not like a rye, and it's not like a typical bourbon.
No, it's not sticking around too long. For
it's-
me, it's quick to go. It's as far as the flavors are there. You know what I mean?
I like it a lot.
And this one here, I mean, I don't want to say bourbon, whiskey, whatever is seasonal, but I could see like even in the summertime when the weather's warmer, like it's got a lot of flavor, but not being very hot. Like you could enjoy
it's
this
not
when
too
the
hot.
weather's
When it's warmer out.
When it's warmer out, yeah.
Yeah, because that messes with you, like.
I mean, I find myself like in the summer, I really don't drink a lot of stronger bourbons, like 90 proof, maybe around that bottled and bond mark.
I never really thought of it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Honestly, I probably haven't either. Really high. I mean, not really.
Yeah.
I know, like it's a comparison on the beer side of things. Because we're into the beers. I won't drink a stout in the middle of the summer. It's way too heavy.
Yeah.
It's right now it's cold out. It's stout season, so that's interesting.
I even steer away from lagers in the summertime.
Yeah.
Nothing but Modelo.
Yeah, this is the weeder. The weeded is pretty good.
And we haven't had too many of these weeded ones so far. I think the biggest run of weeded ones we've had was
Maker's
Mark.
Maker's Mark. I was drawing a
I
blank.
don't think we've had. We've tried some off air, not recording. We've tried some.
Right.
weeded.
Yeah. As far as the podcast goes, I mean, I think this is
Yeah, right. We haven't done.
between Maker's Mark and this.
Yeah, it's the only two we.
And I wasn't a fan of really the Maker's Mark in general. I know I picked a few of which ones were my runner-up, but Maker's Mark in general I would put on the lower end of my taste buds. And I was associating that to wheat.
Right.
Because that's what they all had in common.
Right, that's their jam.
But this is, I enjoy this one.
This has got more sweetness compared to Maker's.
Yeah, it doesn't have that peppery finish.
Makers is also the way they do their things. They make it very, very unique.
Well, they use the red wheat too, right?
Yeah, they do use red wheat. This
so maybe there's a difference between it.
This is obviously not that. Yeah. It's funny they bring that up. We'll have to do maybe a comparison because we have another bottle that we can talk about one of these days. Is that the Holiday?
Oh, the Ben Holiday. Yeah.
Ben Holiday, the soft red wheat.
Yeah, because I think you have the soft red wheat and
I have a bottle of
Rickhouse
soft red.
proof.
Yeah. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Like I said, they don't tell you what wheat this is. This is probably winter wheat, actually, right? Would it be that winter wheat?
I mean, on the agricultural side, not sure, but
Yeah.
Speculation.
Not a farmer.
Yeah.
Right.
How many wheats do they make out there?
If anybody out there knows, let us know.
Yeah. Let us know.
Comment. Let us know.
Absolutely.
Can only do so much research. They may not disclose that or whatever, but you never know. I mean, grains are grains. They don't really
Especially
care.
they're a little more advanced in the science end of things. So
I mean,
top secret.
I've been watching some videos. In fact, I think I sent you guys a YouTube video. If you didn't watch it, it's the science that goes into this. Like a lot of master distillers have a chemistry background. Like it's crazy. Yeah. And I can imagine that Bardstown being one of those top,
right?
They have the top scientists, and I can only imagine. I would love to get like a personal tour and spend all day down there because it's interesting. That video I sent you guys, you got to watch it because it was interesting, and it's not a Bardstown video, but it's definitely pretty. Yeah, it's definitely pretty good. So let's move into the next one.
All right. Before we move on, though, thumbs up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Put a thumbs up.
Yeah, we did the Four Roses, the single barrel strength one. For me, was my favorite last year. Had I gotten this one at the same time, it would have been. It's definitely a second place for me out of the ones that we've been trying. Yeah. It's approachable. You can drink more than a glass of it, at a time in a sitting. So, I definitely, anybody out there listening that knows us or whatever, you're welcome to come try some of these with us, when we're sitting around. So, well, not all of it. little sips.
If anybody listening there, and then the folks that have joined us and follow us, definitely drop us some comments on this if you've had it before, or after listening to the episode today, go out and track it down, try it out, definitely drop us some feedback.
All right, on to number 2.
On to the rye.
All right. So we have the Bardstown Origin Series. This is going to be the Kentucky Straight Rye, whiskey finished in toasted cherry wood and oak barrels. Comes in at 48% alcohol. That would be 96 proof. Aged 6 years. And it's the mash bill for 95% rye, 5% malted barley. So I don't know. I didn't have a price on either one of these. I know you said the price on the wheated, John. I don't.
Kind of varies on the wheated.
Rye.
Yeah, we mentioned the wheated price points. The rye, I think, right around $60.
Okay.
Out of state, unfortunately. Yeah. But I've seen it like $60, $65 in that area. All right, so on the nose. I mean, you could tell it's a rye naturally. It has that spice, the vanilla. Definitely getting, that woody, oaky barrel.
More
type
oak
of aroma. Yeah.
I'm still getting the similar sweetness smell to it.
Yeah.
There is that. I refer back to butter
for a rye, and I was on it for a little while. It comes and goes for me because I've tried a couple, throughout the weeks in between our recordings or whatever. The typical rye, I'm not getting the spearmint thing on this one.
No,
really.
Definitely right.
And I heard another one too. Not to get off topic, but I heard another one with the rye. It's like dill. I think I've gotten it once, and I don't remember which bottle it was, but I don't know.
I'm a big dill fan, and I haven't
Yeah, I gotta say, I enjoy dill too on on the cooking side. But yeah, I haven't really picked up any anything with that aroma to it.
Even spearmint, I haven't picked up.
I've gotten a spearmint. It was actually pretty crazy on the bottle that I got. That's Pikesville.
Okay,
I don't know if you've tried the
Pikesville.
Pikesville one. You've had it, John, right?
It's been a long time, but I remember that was. I mean, it's been a while, but it was good.
Yeah, it's a tasty bottle.
And even ryes, we're gonna have to keep an eye out for the Pod Fay.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah,
you were mentioning that.
I seen it a few weeks ago, and I had to walk on by. But maybe down the road in one of our future.
Yeah, we have an idea of because we're here in PA, doing a PA whiskey. Try to get our hands on some PA stuff.
PA stuff.
I only know a few. And a couple of friends locally. I know one that has Stolen Wolf, which is out of Lidditz, PA, I believe, or down that way. Dad's Hat's around in the store. I've had Dad's Hat once. I think I've had Dad's Hat rye.
There's a few distilleries in the Philly area. Like I think Dad's Hat is near like Ben Salem area. Mm-hmm. There's Kinsey, which I've seen around. I've had some of theirs. Resurgent.
Yep.
Has the rabbit on the bottle.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep. That's another one.
Others, yeah.
I seen Kinsley.
Yes,
Kinsley.
sorry, yeah.
And Resurgent. Actually, we were on a trip down to Jim Thorpe. And they had several different bottles above their bar, or on their shelves at the bar, I should say. I think I had Resurgent once. I don't recall. I don't remember it.
And there's one out in Western PA. Well, there's a few out in Western PA.
Pennsylvania's one of them, ain't it? Or are they sourced?
That I'm not sure. But Liberty Pole Spirits, that was one.
Yeah.
Liberty Pole.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I've seen their stuff around. I haven't had anything from those guys yet, but
Pennsylvania is Midwest, not Midwest, middle state, middle state distillery down Harrisburg.
Oh, okay.
Not sure if they distill their own or if they are sourced. Right. They make a couple other ones though.
I saw a few in the store today.
I drove right by it. Drove by the
Pennsylvania
Pennsylvania Farm Show complex.
Oh, okay.
It's like right across the street.
Oh, the distillery?
Yep.
Yeah.
As soon as you get off the exit. Yeah, you probably
noticed it.
As soon as you get off the exit, if you're going down that way. So.
All right, so back to the palate.
Yeah,
let's rope this in a little bit. So we did the nose onto the palate. I get a green apple rind.
Definitely green apple.
I get a green apple rind on that one.
Like a spicy cocoa.
The spice isn't crazy on this though.
No,
it's not.
Yeah, it's definitely more refined. It's not.
Especially 95% rye, I would think it would be a little spicier, Especially, on the nose it was spicy for me.
I'm not getting any of the apple.
And I gotta say, looking at our tasting notes here, I mean, like Bing cherries, I'm definitely not getting any cherry.
No.
I mean, like Jesse, like you would say, maybe like more of that stone fruits type of, to a certain degree.
To me, even the sweetness is gone for me. Like I'm not getting any even sweetness in this now. A little bit,
yeah.
I'm getting oak. I'm getting some oak and earthy tones there.
Earthiness,
The tasting notes we have, dried fig. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, not getting any fig.
Yeah,
But for a rye, it's very balanced. So I mean, if anybody out there is not really into rye, for whatever reason, this one, to kind of get your palate warmed up to them is pretty. It's pretty modest.
And it's a 95.5, so it should hit you. I mean, maybe we're a little seasoned on drinking some of them, but I'd be curious. To see someone that has not ever had a rye for that matter.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I think the oak in any whiskey, bourbon, rye, will get some people. They're not used to that flavor,
Not used to the flavor, right?
But once you get past it,
it's definitely a little bit more complex, I think, too, as far as on the end of it. There's a lot still going on there.
Right.
Between a little bit of heat, a little bit of sweetness,
Yeah, this definitely stays on the palate, like I said, Chris, a little longer.
Yeah.
Compared to the wheated.
Yeah, see, I'm not getting any of the heat at all. I get the tingle in my tongue.
More
I get
tingle,
that part, but I don't get the the heat, the back of the throat, nothing. It's as good as can be for me.
Fortunately, no Kentucky hug.
No, just a little bit of spice there. That's it. Just not a heat spice, but like a cooking spice, like a pepper. Yeah, a little pepper to it. You know, and that's what I think is more on the tongue than anything.
Getting in my nose, like on the last sip I had, I get it in my nose a little bit there, but
There's another good one. I really enjoy this one.
it's crazy, man. The rise.
Out of the Rise, I would probably put this up top contenders that we've had. Because we had
the Michter's.
the Michter's Rye.
Right. Drawing a blank here. Michter's.
On recording,
Yeah,
I think
it was
we
just
only did the
Michter's.
Michter's.
Yeah, just the Michter's.
Just for recording, we only did that.
Yeah,
No, I was drinking I had the Old Forester the other night. The Old Forester
that's the
Rye.
one I was thinking of, but I know we didn't do it.
Yeah, we didn't do that
on the
on
show.
here. I'm meshing things together here. Or that Templeton Midnight Rye, but
Yeah, we tried
right,
that off there. Yeah, that's a different, unique one, you know.
yeah. As far as this, I'd put this up there. As far as one of my
It's a hitter.
favorite ryes.
It's a good one.
Yep.
So I think we're all on the same page. Thumbs up on this one.
Yeah. Definitely thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's it for us, right?
We're gonna do.
Oh no, we got one more.
We got one more. We got a last minute entry.
You guys are bringing up the kicker.
So we're coming in on the blind on this one. Now I've had this one before. I don't know if you guys have had
I've
it.
never had it. I've seen pictures of it, and that's about it.
So getting back to their offerings, this is going to be one of Bardstown's single barrel finishes, and this one is a barrel pick for the PLDC, which earlier in the podcast here, I had a little bit of a delay because I was trying to figure out the acronym, what the meaning was on this. So it appears this is a distributor. This is an out-of-state bottle in the Mid-Atlantic region.
Oh, okay. So they probably do.
Yeah, probably a barrel pick or something.
Yeah, they just go and pick it, and then that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, so this one here, like I said, it is a single barrel. This is the PLDC Winter 2024 rye. So this one here, it has a little more specifics on it. Particular rickhouse, which is A. This one's been on, this barrel's from the 5th floor. The proof on this, we're coming in at 122.8. So this one's definitely got a little more heat compared to the Origins rye.
Oh yeah, 96 was the Origins. Yeah, that's gonna jump up a little bit there.
What's it at? 120?
122.8.
122.8. So this is all of their own juice. 6-year aged on this one. On the mash bill side, we're looking at 95% rye and 5% barley. And this is finished in toasted cherry wood and oak barrel.
So similar, but single barrel. So
Okay. So
picked, should be better, on paper. Obviously, the proof should give us a more distinct flavor. If I had to say.
Yeah, I would imagine this will have a little more, a little more
Excited.
going on.
I like single barrels.
I'm definitely excited.
I like single barrels. I like cask strengths.
Beautiful dark color on it.
Yeah,
Not
this
super
is-
dark, but it's definitely darker than the other one.
All right, let's see. I always try my hand at reading the legs on here. One of these days I'll figure out what these mean. But to me, I want to say they're thick.
Better get that pinky up over
Yeah, real
when you're
thick.
swirling that glass.
Yeah,
I mean, I gotta say, the nose right out of the gate, considering this is 122 proof, doesn't have a lot of heat to it. I'm not getting
I don't get the same spices I got in the rye.
I'm also not getting the sweetness which I was expecting more of.
Yeah.
Well, at least the same.
This-
I get earthiness.
earthiness and like dark cherry. I'm getting like candy cherry,
So I
like
get
fruit
more oak
candy
out of that one.
cherry, yeah, or fruitcake cherries.
Fruitcake cherries. Yeah, I get more of the oak in the nose of that.
Yeah, there's definitely more woody notes in this. All right, so we're going right to the palate here. Oof. You'll have to excuse us for the.
You gotta chew on that one for a little bit.
Yeah,
Pause there,
ASMR. So I taste the proof. Mm-hmm. I taste the proof, the finish, like, not to jump ahead, but man, does it linger.
Oh yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
I'm getting leather or oak for sure.
Oak.
That one touched the back of the throat a little bit. More than the last one.
It hits.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, it doesn't
Not bad.
burn on the way down.
Yeah,
It
not
really
bad,
doesn't.
but
No.
it from front to back, it's there.
It's good. It's got more flavor. I just can't. I can't describe it.
I find it to be very similar, just amplified.
It's not as sweet though.
Yes.
Like it's not.
It's louder.
It's not as sweet, and if it's
Right.
the barrel, it's probably the the proof in the oak,
Right,
Which
yeah.
is what I'm getting.
And then, like I said, toasted cherry wood. Like I said earlier, I am definitely getting a little bit of a cherry.
I
note
do
in
get
there,
a little.
like
I
heavier
do
fruit
get a
note.
little dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not sweet. It's not a sweet cherry, but I'm getting that like a raw cherry, like a cherry you go pick off the tree or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever they grow on.
The cherries with the pits in them.
Yeah,
That's why.
and it's not bitter though. It's not
No,
like the bitter. It's
yeah.
not like the tartness. It's not
Right.
tart.
And that's why I always say like fruitcake cherry, because I remember having that like little. My grandmother used to make that fruitcake stuff around the holiday, and I remember digging my hands into that stuff before she would put it into the cake, and it just always had like just a very unique,
Yeah,
not
it's different.
pleasant, like
Yeah.
candied fruit type. of
Nobody
note
eats
to it.
them anymore.
Yeah, right.
So it's
yeah.
not
Thing of the
relevant in my
past,
head.
No.
I know what you're talking about though.
Man,
Not
that's
saying
good.
it.
That's another.
Yeah.
That's very good. That's another good one.
Yeah, this is tasty.
It's. I don't want to revert to a green apple, but I would say like a dark. If the apple could be dark,
Yeah.
it's like a dark
Makes
apple.
sense.
I don't know how to describe that. It's again, I'm still the newbie at this, but it would be like a darker rind of an apple.
Yeah.
So like a dark red, maybe. In that is
And what's unique
good.
about it, like, I mean, hey, everybody's palate's different. We're all tasting this today, the three of us. Your interpretation of your own taste makes it unique.
Yeah.
Like what you get, Chris, might not be what I get.
Yeah,
vice
that's
versa.
definitely a thing. It's like I hear confection of sugar in some
There you
of
go.
the podcasts I listen to.
Makes sense.
I mean, I get the sweetness part of it. I understand the sweetness part of it. I think we have confection of sugar here at the house. I should probably get the bag out and take a big sniff because it's like I hear it all the time, but I can't put two and
Clean
two
up your
together.
nose and your mouth afterwards.
Gotta try and get one of those kits that everybody I see online and stuff.
I want to say like a
Wish we
dried
had some
fruit.
sponsors out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a good one. I like this one.
Like
I
dried
like the
fruits.
proof. The proof. Like
Yeah.
this is maybe like one decent pour, and then I don't know how much you can go back to it. For me, anyway.
Yeah,
It's great. It's fantastic. But
Yeah, if you did like a 2-finger pour of this, I mean, it's more than enough.
yeah, because it warms you
sip
up.
slow, right?
It'll
yeah.
warm you up, and it's you definitely get the proof compared to the other one.
Oh yeah, if you have a couple of these, you're definitely gonna feel it.
Yeah.
And to look at it too, this is the same mash bill as the Origin
Right.
series.
Yeah.
So it has a single barrel.
And even the it's the same
Yeah, it's
same
a barrel
toasted
strength.
cherry wood and oak barrels. So I mean, it's very similar. It's just
It's the proof, but I don't. It's the proof, but I don't get
Yeah,
the.
the proof,
yeah.
It's a different flavor.
Yeah.
It's not that different, but it's different enough.
it's more complex.
which is probably the proof.
The proof, yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
probably the proof. For me, it's the proof.
Because it is a barrel strength too, so
Yeah,
it's a single
yep.
barrel strength. And this one does. So we were talking a little bit about how we did the Four Roses last week, and how they tell you what rick house, what floor, what
Yeah.
spot.
right.
On this single barrel, it does tell you rick house A,
Yeah.
floor 5.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you position on floor 5, but it does. So that's pretty neat to see. I like the thought put into that of.
Yeah.
Not that we're gonna know the difference, but it's
Well,
neat.
no, I mean, if
It's
you've
neat
been,
to
if
put
you've
in.
been there, I'm sure they're. I know in our
Yeah.
little cheat sheets that we have, they're these guys their tour is amazing from
Yeah,
what I've heard and
yeah,
watched and
that's-
people said. So when you see these numbers, if you've been there, they make sense to people that have seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't. If you've seen it in videos and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but like you don't know. I mean, Four Roses was unique because they're only 6 tiers, and I
Right.
think it's like 15, 20 feet high.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
it's
much
all
of a difference.
monster
I don't
compared
quote
to-
me on that either, but it's not much of a difference in height. These Bardstown, like they're high. Like
Oh.
if you've seen them in pictures, they are up there. It's like it's a
Wow.
warehouse.
Right,
It's like a warehouse that we see in the things around here and everything.
I'm gonna go ahead and put
So
this
overall,
ahead of. Yeah, I'm
consensus.
gonna put this ahead of the rye.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
because of, I mean, with it being higher proof, I think.
Right.
But they're both very complex. This one having just a little bit more leading edge
Yeah, a
to
little
it.
more going on.
Coming out
yeah.
with the single barrel, it is barrel strength.
I want to say this, because you said it yourself, you're slowly getting into these things. I think you're seeing the difference between the lower proof and the higher proof, and higher proofs being something that you like now.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
Picking the flavor
a
out
lot
of
of
them,
people
too.
gravitate over 100 proof. Whether it be for me, like in a mixer cocktail, like an old fashioned. Again, one of my favorites. It's got, at least for me, it's got to be 100 proof because anything other than that, like I feel like it lacks flavor.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you're putting bitters in there, and
it's got to stand up. It's a drink that
gotta
stands
have,
up. But like in terms of drinking these neat, like we are, you're seeing it, which is I figured it was gonna get there, just not as fast.
Yeah.
Like you said it with the Four Roses. That the barrel strength one was definitely more complex, more flavorful. It just goes to show you.
Again, I would put these right up as far as even someone starting out, try it. Obviously this one, I don't know how available that is. But as far as the Origin series, you got to try them.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the wheat was a little bit more, but I mean, with 96 on the rye. And I think ryes alone will stray people away because of that. Some people don't like the spice.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's understandable.
There's a lot of, guys that have been doing this. I always say it. I say it in almost every episode we do. I listen to podcasts, on the way to work and on the way home. And, there's some guys that just simply don't like rye, but they'll drink, the top shelf bourbons you can get, which it's, again, that's people's palates.
It's a preference.
That's how it goes.
At the end of the day.
So.
Consensus on this one?
A thumbs up?
Yeah.
I'd say two thumbs up.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
I would too.
2 thumbs up.
Like I said,
Still sipping on it.
Yeah.
This is an out-of-state bottle here, Maryland in specific. So if anybody listening ventures down that way, keep an eye out for this one.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
we're probably about at time limit, so.
All right,
for
so I'll
this
wrap this
episode.
one up then. So again, this was the Bardstown series. We had the 2 Origin series. We had a wheated and a rye. And then we had the single barrel strength. So that was an out west pick, you said? A mid-Atlantic pick?
Yeah, Maryland in specific.
A Maryland pick. So Bardstown for the first time on the podcast. Great.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So again, don't forget, follow us, like and subscribe. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And you can listen to us on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Music. And again, I'm Chris.
I'm Jesse.
And Johnny here.
We'll catch you with the cork out.